courthouse, apologizing to Paulie's mother, Eve Nichols.
To Eve Nichols and her family, for what it's worth, I do offer my sincere apology. To certain members of the Claus family, I also offer the same.
Then he got in a last word, adding insult to an already unspeakable injury.
I would also like to state for the record that the main reason I know that I did not attempt any lewd act that night was because of a statement the young girl made to me when walking her up the embankment. Just don't do me like my dad. I have to pay my dues, so should you.
Hell, Davis. Yeah, boy.
Moments later, Richard Allen Davis was sentenced to death.
This is always a traumatic and emotional decision for a judge. You've made it very easy today by your conduct.
Davis's unsubstantiated accusations were answered quickly outside the courthouse. First by Paulie's grandfather, Joe Class.
This man succeeded in what he was trying to do, which was pierce my son through the heart and pierce the rest of the family. It was just plain despicable, and it shows the kind of people child molesters are.
It shows the degree and how far he will go to continue to manipulate people and to continue to try and pour on the suffering and the pain and the agony.
Mark Class vowed today that he'd be watching in the execution chamber when Richard Allen Davis is put to death.
Have to start taking these sex criminals and these sex crimes seriously, and we really do have to craft legislation that is going to protect our children from these guys.
The reason we're working so hard on this is because our sons are in prison right now. I voted for the 3-Strikes law, thinking that it would put away pedophiles and murderers as we were told on television. And at that time, my son already had 2 strikes. I went ahead and voted for it because I felt if he ever committed murder or was a pedophile, he deserved to be in prison for whatever sentence he received.
Joe Class. I'm retired, and I got into this because this was passed as a result of my granddaughter, Polly, being kidnapped and murdered more than 10 years ago. People ask me if 3-Strikes would have had Richard Allen Davis in prison when my granddaughter, Polly, was kidnapped. The answer is Richard Allen Davis would not have been free to do what he did, which was to kidnap, rape, and murder my granddaughter. The the 3 Strikes bill, as it was passed by people who, in a spirit of compassion for Polly and rage over the crime of violence against children, assumed, because they were misled by the proponents of 3 Strikes, into thinking that it applied only to violent criminals. This includes a whole more nonviolent criminals than violent criminals, by far. And that people get double sentences or 25 years to life for shoplifting.
I think the public has had an opportunity to examine the 3 Strikes law. I think the law has contributed to a reduction in crime, but it is still too broad. And as a result, we are seeing prison populations which are extremely high, too high, that are costing the state enormous amounts of money. And I don't have an objection to paying money if it's working to the benefit of the state and public safety. But as criminals get to their 50s and 60s and even in their 40s, statistics show us they tend not to be the threat they were in their teens and 20s and 30s. What the law is doing now is incarcerating people beyond the time that they pose a real threat at quite a high cost. And I think that money could be better directed inside the criminal justice system to give us more bang for the buck and for crime reduction.
Welcome to North Kern State Prison, 2 hours north of Los Angeles, currently holding 4,000 inmates. That's twice as many as what it was designed for, a ratio which applies to most of California's jails, where overcrowding has become a major problem. The federal government has had to step in and ask the Golden State to set 40,000 inmates free. Meanwhile, North Kern has found its own ways of coping. This gymnasium has been converted into a dormitory, which sleeps an extra 140 inmates.